Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the 33 Lounge. I'm your host, Nick, and my mentally challenged cohort over here is JR. JR, say hello to the people.
Hello to the people. The proctologist is in.
That doesn't make me... Is that why you have rubber gloves?
Yeah. I just want to point out that your brother's sunglass game is nowhere near my game.
Is this what this is about?
It's now about this. Boom, you know.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell my brother he needs to stop. What's wrong with you? Where did you get those?
The Amazons.
So you went out and purchased glasses just to one up my brother on his 3-second videos.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what I have he doesn't have. I haven't seen him with these. You?
No, I have not. But this is going to be interesting.
Should I leave him on the whole time?
I hope not.
Oh.
I have boom.
Yeah, boom.
Can you even see out of those?
A little bit. It's not about being able to see. It's the
aesthetics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the microphone is blocking. No, we'll take them off.
Yeah, we'll take them off.
Yeah. I had these other pair, but you said that they wouldn't show up. Try those on. They don't show up.
I mean, you can see you have glasses on. I can't tell what they are. See what I'm saying? Because of the glare.
Yeah.
They're 2 middle fingers.
Yeah, they are. They're 2 middle. I'll leave these ones on the whole time.
Should wear those to work.
Oh, yeah, that would go over well.
All right, so where you want to get started?
I don't know.
I mean, we can talk about
I feel weird having a hat on backwards.
Oh,
bold. All right.
Now
I'm back, baby.
Steelers have their quarterback.
No.
I feel like when he first time he plays,
yeah,
you need to play the announcer should play Return of the Mac.
Why?
Mason Rudolph returns.
Nobody cares.
Signing for a $2.8 million contract.
I will say though, as far as
2 years, $8 million contract.
Right. As far as these other backups that have been getting deals, he's on the cheap.
Yeah, while off camera. I mean, once we signed him, I told you. I said I almost feel like he's going to start. 2 years, $8 million, $4 million a year.
Yeah, but then you see these other
to be a backup. Well, today, Hainsey called me out for Cooper Rush. He signed with the Ravens today. Obviously a backup. He's not starting over Lamar. His contract was 2 years, $12.2 million.
Right. Henneke got 1 year, $6-point-something million with the Chargers.
Well, Mac Jones signed. Well, he signed on the cheap. Mac Jones signed with the Niners. 2 year, $7 million.
Comparable to Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, just kind of running down through all the quarterbacks that have gone off the board recently. Jimmy G signed with the Rams. Obviously, Stafford restructured his deal. He's staying in Los Angeles. Kenny Pickett, we talked about signing with Cleveland.
Well, traded. He got traded.
Well, yeah, he got traded. He's coming in. Man, did you see his first press conference?
No.
I see myself as a starter.
Well, right now, yeah, but until Russ Wilson wrecks that.
Well, I don't know. We'll get into that here very shortly. I don't know if he's essentially heading to Cleveland.
Okay.
Now, he went and visited with Cleveland after New York.
Right.
But let's keep going down the list here. Zach Wilson, he signed with the Dolphins. Obviously, Daniel Jones signed with the Colts, 1 year, $14 million. So here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have Anthony Richardson.
Right.
And you just went out and gave Daniel Jones $14 million for
Danny
1 year.
Dimes.
You're not letting $14 million sit on the bench.
No, you're going to give a short leash to Anthony Richardson
Okay.
to start the year.
Well, is he going to start or is Daniel Jones going to start?
Well, I guess let's see how it shakes out through the preseason.
I don't think Richardson is starting. You're not paying a backup $14 million.
So they trade him away.
Brings me to my next question.
We're mind melting.
What does that $14 million contract mean for Anthony Richardson? Now, is he hurt? We just don't know.
I don't think he is.
Well, I mean, something could have happened. They don't necessarily. We're not in the season. They don't have to provide an injury report.
Right. True.
Do they trade him?
I think that's the more plausible thing.
Well, moving ahead in my notes, I have a rumors section.
Oh.
One of those rumors is that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorites to land Anthony Richardson in a trade. I also read, well, my brother, the guy you're in sunglasses wars with. Apparently.
He doesn't know it. Well, now he does.
He sent me a story out of Cleveland that we were the next stop for Jameis Winston. Oh, I pray to Christ that's not true.
But, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, listen, I mean, I know we're not going to be burning down the statistical doors with Mason Rudolph, but you can't, honest to God, tell me we'd be in better hands with Jameis Winston.
No. Think of all the interceptions he threw last year and got benched by the Browns.
Jameis Winston will always refer back to Jameis Winston, and he will do
and the
Winston
Lord
things.
He loves the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw Fields go to the Jets 2-year, $40 million. He got his bag. We saw the trade with Geno Smith to Vegas. Sam Darnold signed with Seattle. Here's the surprising one, because I kind of called this out to you the other day at work. There's still somebody out there that we're kind of waiting to see what the organization does with him.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins looks like he's staying in Atlanta. There was rumors he was going to be cut, but there was a deadline involved. He was owed a $10 million roster bonus.
Right.
Well, that deadline has come and gone, and they have paid Kirk Cousins $10 million roster bonus they owed him. So it doesn't seem likely that you're going to part ways with a guy you just gave a $10 million check to.
Well, think about it, too. J.J. McCarthy's coming off a knee injury. They need him to get healthy, so they need to have a...
You're thinking of the Vikings.
God, I keep doing that with Kirk Cousins. Why don't
Kirk Cousins is now with the Falcons.
Why do I keep doing that?
I don't know. Well, listen, remember we were talking about this during the draft special.
Oh, yeah.
They signed Cousins to that $140 million guarantee. Like 120 of it's guaranteed.
Right. Why do I keep doing that?
Well, Kirk Cousins is synonymous with Minnesota. But here's my question. So you got this guy, $120 million guaranteed, just gave him a $10 million roster bonus. You have to stick with this guy almost.
Right. Well, just like last year, they had to stick with him because they paid him all that money. And, I know they brought in Penix in the draft, which was...
Well, Penix started halfway through the year.
Correct. But I feel like they're still not...
You want to talk about an expensive backup?
Yeah.
$120 million is an expensive backup.
Well, to me, if they're keeping him, and obviously since they let him have the $10 million bonus, it seems that way. But
seems that way.
They obviously don't have faith right now in Penix.
Well,
even though they went to him.
It's not that he played bad, but he didn't blow the doors off of it like Jaden Daniels.
Right.
But I think Penix has the potential to be that kind of quarterback. He's got a little weird delivery. There's obviously some health concerns. He was hurt a lot in Indiana, and then Washington.
Right.
He got hurt at the end of his senior year in Washington, so he came into the draft dinged up. But so it doesn't look like Cousins is going to be an option for anybody. And then I totally forgot we talked about that guaranteed contract. Steelers ain't going to.
No,
they're not going to put that in their bag.
No,
they're not going to take on that contract.
No.
Now, if Atlanta releases him,
Right.
we could literally sign that dude for probably 37 cents.
Well, yeah, just like we
Because
did with Russ.
Atlanta's going to be paying him $120 million.
Yeah, you could do the same thing you did with Russ.
Another name I thought we might see in a Steeler uniform. I didn't really dive into it when we were talking about it, but Mariota was out there. And there was rumors before of him coming to Pittsburgh. He signs with Washington. You want to talk about an expensive backup? 1 year, $8 million. So, we continue to sit back, watch quarterbacks. I mean, obviously, none of these are going to be starters. Maybe Daniel Jones, but Fields, Geno Smith, some of the big ones we saw early, we covered last week.
Right.
But some of these newer names that are coming off the board now, people are just padding the roster. And Steelers somehow missed the memo. I mean, we come into the season with Skylar Thompson as the only quarterback on contract, and he's on a futures deal.
Right.
You go out, you bring back Mason Rudolph, which I don't necessarily think was a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing, no.
If you're going to look to add depth, he's been with the Steeler organization since the beginning of his career.
Right.
That wasn't a bad move for depth.
Right.
Now, if you're going to start Mason Rudolph, I think the fans will be behind that move because we were calling for him with Kenny Pickett.
Right.
But we got to understand, I think that's Steelers' way of saying we're just going to tank.
Yeah, but
we're done with the 500 talk.
I feel like, though, Mason Rudolph could be a 9-8, 10-7.
You know what? He probably could.
And the schedule's a lot easier than last year, so, I mean.
And he's got a new weapon, new shiny toy.
He could throw a deep ball, but the problem is he's a statue, and our offensive line is.
Yes.
Ugh.
It's not that this kid wasn't a proven quarterback.
No, he's got an arm.
He's had some bright spots in his career.
Yeah.
But listen, what people have to understand is when you're a quarterback and you're sitting on the bench behind somebody like Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
Okay. It's not like Tom Brady, Bledsoe.
Right.
Bledsoe is made out of paper mache and duct tape. It was only a matter of time before Brady got that nod.
Right.
Ben Roethlisberger is probably one of the toughest, most durable quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. The dude sat in the pocket for 13 seconds every play.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not like he didn't get hit. It's not like he didn't. I mean, he didn't run a lot.
Right.
But it's not like he didn't get hit.
I tell you what, some of them runs he had, though, were pretty huge.
So you're sitting on the bench behind.
Looked like hell, but it was pretty huge.
And we weren't always ones to I don't want to say put in the second team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw a little bit over his career, but not much.
Right.
So you're sitting on the bench behind the likes of Roethlisberger.
Right.
You're not going to see the field a lot.
Right.
So is this guy, you got to ask yourself, is he lost a little something?
Rudolph?
Well, I mean, coming out of college, he was a proven quarterback. And I think everybody kind of thought that maybe this guy was the heir apparent.
Well.
And then when he became the heir apparent, it was apparent that he had no heir. It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Now, is that just a product of us leaving him on the bench?
I mean, it could be. And, maybe Roethlisberger not trying to share any knowledge with him or.
People have to understand you got to develop these guys when you draft them. And you can't develop them if they don't see the field.
Right.
I don't know if you remember Landry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we drafted him, he came out of a big time school.
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, he was hunting for a national championship his last 2 seasons in college. It's not like he was a bad quarterback.
No. Just didn't relate.
Just never saw the field.
Right.
Hard to adjust to the NFL when you don't get time under center.
It's a different speed.
So digging into what's left out there, you got Rodgers, Russ Wilson, Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, Carson Wentz is still out there. Desmond Ritter's still out there. Trey Lance, Case Keenum. I mean, there's a bigger list, but I mean, the rest of those
Well,
guys.
I mean, but you name all those guys, and outside of Russ and Rodgers, everybody else is another Mason Rudolph. It's a guy that's going to bridge you over to the draft pick maybe this year or next year.
Well,
so it's not really.
You saw some good things out of Flacco in Cleveland.
Yeah, but he's like 90 now.
But then you didn't see it when he was in Indianapolis.
No.
Carson Wentz at one point was a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah.
But is he now?
No.
The word is Rodgers is, and I read this, or he's looking for like somewhere in upwards of $33 million a year.
Yeah, and it sounds like he wants to go to Minnesota.
He's come out and said he wants to play in Minnesota, and I think part of that is stroking his ego. He wants a shot at the Packers before he goes. Because I couldn't think of another reason why you would want to play in Minnesota.
Right. Well, nice new facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what we're kind of seeing is Russ is kind of waiting in the wings for maybe Rodgers to make a move.
Right.
Figure out what he's going to do. Because I can't understand why he's not signed by somebody yet.
Yeah. And somehow, some way, not really, but sort of, the Steelers are lucking out that Russ hasn't. All right.
Well, that's a gift right now.
Right.
So we know Rodgers went and visited Minnesota and New York. Russ also went to New York, but Russ also visited Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to think that if Cleveland was a serious buyer for Russ, that he'd already be off the board.
Yep.
I know they got Kenny. We know Watson is on his second Achilles tear,
and from what I've heard, the Browns are high on Pickett and they want him to be their guy.
Well, and you see that's a difference in organizations.
Right.
The Browns are used to finishing at the bottom of the barrel.
You imagine though, we might see a Thursday night game and like snow coming down, and it's Kenny Pickett versus Mason Rudolph. You imagine? Man, if that don't get your pants shorter, I don't know what does.
Maybe I'll call into work and go to work that day. That's not one I want to.
Hey,
PTA, you need somebody?
Yeah, I'm going to come in and scrub toilets.
So you look at this list of people who's left, you almost feel like Russ is waiting for Rodgers to
make a decision.
Everybody
is. And I think this is where the Steelers just need to go, you know what? We sent you your offer, because that's what the report is. Yeah. They already sent him the dollars and term and all that. And they ain't hearing nothing. Call his bluff. All right, we're moving on. And if he comes back and says, all right, I'm good. And if he doesn't, move on.
So, okay, but what do you move on to?
Well, I mean, I guess for all intents and purposes, everybody's saying it's Russ.
Well, that's what I mean. So if Russ calls your bluff and says, well, you know what? Hey, screw you. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait and see how these,
but again,
fall.
Nobody's handing out these contracts to either one of them.
No.
So I don't know if they're demanding too much, which sounds like Rodgers is.
We don't know if anybody has offered Rodgers. He hasn't talked to anybody.
Well, according to the reports, the Steelers have already gave him the offer. It's on the table.
Well, that's what I mean, but we don't know Giants. Well, no, we do know the Giants because the Giants offered him more money.
Right.
What we don't know is it has Minnesota.
Right, and supposedly they're saying now he wants to go to Minnesota.
But
he might just retire.
Well, there you go. There's
either way, all of this is stroking his ego. Whether he goes somewhere or not, he's in the spotlight.
At 40 plus years of age.
Right.
He's in
loving
the spotlight.
This.
He's absolutely loving it.
Even if he's in a dark room taking ayahuasca and tripping balls.
The question still remains. If Russ calls your bluff and says, hey, I'm going to wait for the chips to fall. You said the Steelers just need to move on. Move on to what?
Yeah.
There's nothing out there.
I mean, if we're at this after all this shakes out and we're just Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson,
well, you can't.
We're probably drafting a quarterback.
You can't even go out and get Kyle Allen, the guy that threw the most impressive.
No, he signed
pass.
with somebody.
I haven't.
I don't know, but he signed with somebody. So yeah, he's gone.
the most impressive one pass in Steeler history.
Right. It was pretty fast all year last year. I don't know. There was a couple good ones by Fields and Russ, but that one just, I think it's because it was Kyle Allen, and we just thought he would just hand off the ball, and then he throws this dart over the middle.
I don't have it.
I can't remember.
But no, you're right. I know he signed. It was a
1-year deal with somebody.
It may have been on this list. It was the last page I was on. I was jotting notes down before I got here, but I had to poop.
Detroit Lions.
Yes, Lions. It doesn't have Bailey Zappi went to Kansas City along with Gardner Minshew, so they're 3 deep already.
Yeah.
I shocked. Why didn't we go after Minshew?
That's what I was just gonna say. I'd have been okay with that, but then it's like,
well, I think his.
For right now, where we've gone,
it wouldn't have been bad.
No, but I'm okay with Mason Rudolph right now for where we're at. But, I don't know. This is a mess. This is a bigger mess. I think I posted on Facebook. I'd rather go back wondering who was going to be wide receiver 2 last year. Like, this is worse.
Well, this is worse because we now have our wide receiver.
I know.
And
I still can't fathom how this
we're waiting
dude, we wanted warm weather and a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, and he came to Pittsburgh
because he wants to play for Tomlin
with no quarterback.
Did you see ESPN?
Can DK throw the ball to himself? Because that'd be awesome.
Well, this is my point. like last year, we were trying to figure out who a receiver was. We had 2 quarterbacks on our roster.
Right.
Now we got 2 receivers and no quarterbacks.
Right.
It's just it's Tomlin doing Tomlin things.
Yeah.
I don't know what this guy. I mean, and then is it Tomlin or is it Omar? Somebody dropped the ball this offseason.
I still stand pat with it. They decided come off season, Fields was their guy, and he was like, "Well, you know what? You screwed me over. I'm out." And then they turned and looked at Russ, and Russ is like, "Well, you wanted him, so I'm going to look at elsewhere." Like, I think it all blew up in their face because they.
Do you think this has something to do with the choppiness?
What? I don't know what that says.
Okay. Maybe if you wear your glasses. Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't. I'm not going to blame Fields. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Fields guy. I'm not saying that because I'm a Buckeye guy. I'm just, we screwed him over. The whole way we handled that situation was piss poor. Oh, I thought you dug into the box.
No.
So I don't blame the guy for going out and getting his bag. I mean, that's on us at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, there were more rumors. I didn't want to get too far ahead. I wanted to get through that
Don't
list.
get too far ahead yet. So I seen a thing.
I seen it.
You
can't seen it.
So, tale of 2 twos.
2 twos.
Rudolph also has the same number of games with 2 plus. I don't want to read that. So Rudolph 2023 versus Fields 2024. Rudolph 4 starts. Fields 6 starts. Rudolph 3-1. Fields 4-2. Rudolph threw 110 times for 945 yards. Fields threw 160 times for 1,106 yards. Completion percentage. Rudolph 68.1. Fields 66.25. Yards attempt 8.5 versus 6.9. Favor of Rudolph. Touchdowns 5-5. Interceptions 1-1. Sacks. Now this was interesting. One's a statue, one's not, right? 6 sacks for Rudolph. 16 times Fields was sacked. 3 fumbles for Rudolph. 6 for Fields. Passer rating of a 106.1 for Rudolph. 93.9 for Fields.
Okay, so you've left out very key stats.
Like?
First off, Fields didn't only have 5 touchdowns. He had 5 passing touchdowns.
Right.
What was our red zone under each of them?
I don't have
Well, there you go. This is why it's misleading.
I can give you career versus career.
It's probably not going to be any different.
Probably not. 28 touchdowns, 20 interceptions for Rudolph. 45 touchdowns, 31 interceptions for Fields.
Okay, 45 passing touchdowns.
Well, I'm just saying. So, but Fields started 47 games. Rudolph has only started 18.
So there's a very big difference between these two guys. And then you can read the passing stats all you want. But the reason Fields is so attractive to teams is because he's multifaceted. He has another dimension to him.
Well, he's what seemingly now is the cookie cutter quarterback of the NFL now.
Yeah.
You know, dual threat or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Whereas Rudolph is a statue, which was a successful type of quarterback through many years. But now with a bad offensive line.
Well, it boggles my mind how you can enter an offseason with no quarterback, be so focused for an entire year on a wide receiver, and you don't land one. Then you come into the offseason, now you need a wide receiver and a quarterback, and you go get a wide receiver.
Right. Yeah, you think quarterback shoring up would have been the first thing.
A priority? Yeah.
But again, I think this is where it blew up in their face. I think they thought they had it. We're good.
Well, again, reports were that Russ Fields. Justin Fields wanted to come back.
Right.
But we wouldn't guarantee that he would be the starter. We wouldn't guarantee that if we put him under center week 1, we weren't going to bench him again. And I don't blame him.
No.
He went 4-2. It's not like he was playing bad. Now, listen, I understand they signed Russ first, and Russ was the projected starter from the get.
Right.
But Russ got hurt.
Right.
All right? And it is what it is. But yeah, I don't blame Fields for not coming back. I think the way they handled that whole situation was terrible. I think they did him dirty in favor of Russ. Yeah. Which, listen, Russ is your corporate guy. He's the guy you want to hold babies and put in front of the camera. And he did a great job of that in Pittsburgh.
He did.
I mean, he really did. And I'd love to have him back because he seems like he's one of those guys. But at the end of the day, you have to think of your organization. Long term, you're not going to go with a 38-year-old guy who's going to be 39 now.
Right.
You need to start looking at the future. Ben's been gone for how long now? And we have yet, after all these years, figured out the quarterback spot. Which brings me back to a point I made at the beginning of us doing this.
Okay.
Tomlin has never won with his guys. Now, Roethlisberger was a coward pick.
Yeah.
Even though Cowher didn't want him, he was a coward pick. Now he's gone, and we have yet, after all these years, Tomlin has yet to figure it out.
Yeah, he doesn't develop anybody.
No.
Not at all.
So, well, he better develop Mason into a more mobile quarterback.
Not going to happen.
Get that dude on a diet, put him on 1,000 calf raises a night, get his calves jacked up. He'd be doing wind sprints with the parachute.
Can you imagine if, let's just say, Mason's the starter and the first play of the game, the very first game of the year, he takes off for like a 55-yard touchdown run.
It'd be poetic.
Oh, man. And then we get blown out 45-7.
Well, his first start last year, he dropped the 86-yard dime to, well, it was also Pickens pulling away from the coverage, but he threw an 86-yard touchdown pass to Pickens, and we were probably like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Could it really be?
Well, that's the other thing, too.
No, couldn't.
Are the Steelers offensively going to finally, take the handcuffs off a quarterback? It's been out there in reports that they don't allow these quarterbacks to ball out. They play safe. And I could see doing it with like a Kenny Pickett, rookie, or a Fields who is new to the offense, new to the team. But why'd they do it with Russ? Russ is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Well, let's rewind a couple years. Why'd they do it with Mason?
Right. So
Mason has been in this system for years.
Right.
whether he saw the field or not, he should have known the ins and out of the way this organization works, the schemes.
Right.
Yeah, I get they probably had no. Well, back then they still had what's his name.
Yeah, what's his name?
Everybody blamed it right out of town. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was walking into a new situation.
I'm just saying, like, they're gonna need to take the handcuffs off of these
you
quarterbacks.
You can't hit the field with training wheels on your guy, especially if he's your starter.
Right. I don't care if it's Mason Rudolph, Russ Wilson, Aaron Rodgers probably wouldn't listen to him, but none of those guys. Like, let them go out there and do what you're paying them to do. You can't just, I mean, yeah, you have to call plays and you have to, script things, so to speak. I don't want to use that term, but they just, I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't know.
Let's just say Mason is the guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Mason's our. We're going into next year. We're not making Mason's our guy.
Yeah.
Do we draft a backup?
Well, I already said that earlier. Like, I feel like if you're going with Mason, you're gonna have to draft a QB in this draft. Now, we don't have a second round pick now. I don't like using that first round pick for that because we probably need to get a defensive lineman or a running back.
Listen, as much as I've preached for Cam's replacement,
yeah,
I would honestly not want to use that first round pick on a defensive lineman.
So you're thinking running back or quarterback at that first round pick.
I'm thinking we can address. I don't necessarily think you have to go early rounds to get a good D lineman. I think we can address that in the third round. I think our biggest concern right now, outside of QB, is running back. Yeah. Obviously,
yeah.
Now we got Gainwell.
Yeah.
Warren's come back, and it looks like Warren's going to be the starter. But that's still, it's still not a lot.
No.
I mean, we still need a backup quarterback. We still need depth at running back. Shit. I mean, you could probably need 2 more quarterbacks. I mean, is Skylar Thompson your emergency guy?
Yeah, no.
I mean, is Skylar Thompson, should he even be on an NFL roster?
Probably not.
And then you're also thinking, we went out and talked to Juszczyk. This is what I don't understand about free agency. The 49ers release Juszczyk.
Yeah.
He goes on 2 visits.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately goes back to San Francisco and signs a 2-year, $8 million deal.
Leverage? I don't know.
I mean,
I guess you wouldn't have leverage. You got cut. I don't know.
Not very many offenses anymore use a fullback.
Right. I mean, we have one. It's Connor Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's also a tight end.
But why would you even?
I don't. Maybe they said,
if you're gonna sign a dude for $4 million a year, just sign him to the contract.
Right. Unless he asked, let's cut me, and if I'm gonna go out and talk to a couple teams, if I like what I hear, I'm going elsewhere. If not, I'll come back to you at the deal you just tried to give me. You know what I mean? Like, there probably wasn't.
I find that hard to believe that a fullback is going to turn down $4 million a year and want to shop himself.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not him.
It bogs. I mean, I can understand if we're talking about maybe a backup quarterback or a receiver, or like we said, we signed Mason Rudolph for the same they signed a fullback to.
Right.
So if you're willing to throw that kind of money at him, why wouldn't you just got the deal done?
I don't know.
It was cutting him, freeing up some roster cap bonus thing or whatever.
I'm sure it was a money thing.
Makes no sense to me. It made 0 sense to me.
But you could cut him and then just re-sign him right after it instead of him going off and talking.
Exactly.
To others. I don't know. I would assume he asked. I don't know.
Or you could have restructured his deal if there was a roster bonus to compensate for that.
Right.
Like I owe you a $2 million roster bonus, so instead of 2 for $8, I'm gonna sign you 2 for $6.
Right.
But still, $3 million for a fullback.
Right.
A year. Not everybody. Wow, tires really came off of there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just as lost now after all these weeks in the free agency as I was when it started.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know.
lost, shocked, flabbergasted.
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 Yeah, I don't. It's
Well,
wacky.
golly jeepers, I can't believe we're sitting here talking about the same thing.
Yeah. I seen that so reportedly the Bengals are going to offer contracts to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yes.
Jamar Chase is reportedly going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL.
Which is currently...
what's his nuts? Myles Garrett.
Is it still?
Yes.
I thought somebody broke his record.
No, Myles Garrett just signed his deal with the Cleveland Browns.
Did he break somebody else?
$40 million a year. Yeah, I don't remember who.
Well, that record just broke like back to back this offseason.
Right now, it's Myles Garrett at $40 million a year. It's about to be Jamar Chase at 40.1 to 41 million. I think I read. I didn't see anything on the numbers for
now. Are you leveraging the future of your organization on it?
Who?
40 million?
Well, Burrow restructured. So.
Well, he'd be stupid not to.
Right. They all three talked last year and want to all stay together, that's smart. That's a hell of a core to have. But, you got to think they've trimmed some money out with, right now, Hendrickson is supposedly, gave him the go-ahead to talk to other teams.
But I haven't seen anything come out that
he could end up staying for all intents and purposes.
Listen, we talked about them losing their bookends, but if you could lock up your offensive trio, they have a young running back.
Right.
I could listen.
They could outscore what their defense.
I don't want to say it, but I can get on board with a team like that.
Yeah. But
who's their coach? Is it still who's their coach for a long time?
What's his name? I don't know. I can't think of his name.
Marvin Lewis.
Oh yeah, Marvin Lewis. Mike Tomlin.
No, I said who was their coach?
I'm just saying they're like the same guy. Yeah, Marvin Lewis.
Obviously not the same guy. One's employed, one's not. Well, I don't know if Marvin is or not.
He does. He's like an office job.
But listen, you lost your bookends. Trey Hendrickson was NFL sack leader. I don't understand why you're letting him shop himself, essentially. I mean,
I don't know. That's what they're doing.
So
Trey Hendrickson, Bengals quietly talk contract. Colts linked trade.
Yeah.
But supposedly they're actually talking about a contract.
Well, I find it odd that you didn't hear anything. I mean, that's something. You had 2 defensive ends sign massive contracts this offseason.
Yeah.
Then you have your NFL sack leader out there now, and it's
Zach Taylor's the head coach of the Bengals.
Quiet.
Yeah.
I wanted to look this up, and I forgot. I didn't screenshot it. I'm going to look up the draft.
The draft is in Pittsburgh next year.
No, I mean, well, okay. Well, no, not that. I want to see where.
Yeah.
Where Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
We know them too.
Yeah.
I want to look at the list and see who's going to be there.
Well, CBS Sports came out today or yesterday, and they have Shedeur Sanders projected as us
second
taking
round.
him. No,
second round.
We don't have a second
fourth
round.
Well, then the Shedeur should go in the second round.
I'm just saying they have us projected to take
You
him.
don't want to take him, do you?
I don't want to take him. No, I'm just saying CBS Sports said that they're projecting us to take him. If we take any of these
this is very interesting.
I'd rather see Kyle McCord.
Why don't you pull up the
Will Howard?
Why don't you pull up the draft order, which was just released?
We're like 20th.
Okay, but I want to see who's ahead of us because there's something very interesting unfolding on the screen in front of me. Not that screen.
Oh.
I'm not watching that because Alejandro LaJoy is not in this. You made me bet you with a guy that is out
Oh my
on
God,
part-time
you're talking about
schedule.
something from last
Yeah,
year.
and it cost me money. You made me take LaJoy.
You ready?
Yeah.
Number 1 pick, Titans. 2, Browns.
Hold up. Slow down. Slow your roll.
Shut your mouth.
Is Tennessee in the market for a quarterback?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is Cleveland in the market for a quarterback?
Not really, but sort of.
So here's my thing.
But I would say with them picking up Pickett, no.
You're the Cleveland Browns. You know you're already souring on Watson, right?
Yeah.
So your draft room now consists of Kenny Pickett and Deshaun Watson.
Right.
You have the second pick in the draft.
You mean quarterback room?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You have second pick in the draft.
Right.
It looks like Cam Ward's going 1. Whether the Titans draft him or trade, it looks like Ward's going to be 1.
Yeah.
So you now have the option to reset, so to speak, your organization and start fresh with a franchise quarterback.
Right.
Do you take it and draft a quarterback?
As the Browns?
Yeah. Is
Yes.
Kenny Pickett the answer to not draft a quarterback?
No.
Okay. So they're going quarterback too. Okay.
3rd?
Yes.
Giants.
No. Well,
Depends on Rodgers.
Depends on Rodgers, yeah.
New England Patriots. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
No.
No. Raiders.
No.
No. Jets.
No.
No. Panthers.
No. Who just signed with them?
I don't know. Minshew? I don't know.
No, I had this. They just signed somebody.
So we'll go with no. New Orleans Saints. No.
Who's their quarterback? No, it's not Carr. He went to.
Oh, we are so prepared.
Well, I didn't think we would get this
in depth
into this.
Do.
When we get to it, you'll see the point I'm trying to make. So we have 3 teams as of right now looking for a quarterback, but possibly a 4th, depending on what Rodgers does.
Derek Carr, yeah, he's still there.
Okay. I thought he went. I don't know why I thought he went to Vegas.
He was there. He went to.
Then he came back?
No. Whatever.
Okay. All right, he was there first. Okay.
All right, number 7, Jets.
No.
Oh, we already did that.
Yeah.
Number 10, Chicago Bears. No. 49ers. No. Cowboys. No. Dolphins. No. Colts. No. Falcons. No. Cardinals.
No, probably not.
Right. Bengals. No. Seahawks.
No.
Buccaneers. No.
No.
Broncos.
No.
Us. Yes.
So we said there's 3, possibly 4 teams looking for quarterbacks.
Right.
Do you want to know the 5th quarterback in this draft class is?
Over, like, rated wise? Yeah. Will Howard.
Kyle McCord.
Kyle. I will quit.
McCord.
I will quit being a Pittsburgh Steeler fan.
I'm just saying.
I'll quit. I will quit.
You got Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart.
I will don the black and orange for the rest of my life.
Quinn Ewers, and then after them 4, it goes Kyle McCord, Jalen Milroe.
Who they were high on, supposedly.
Let me just say something about Jalen Milroe.
He's doo-doo.
He is. and this point I'm going to make does not translate to the NFL game. But they had to move his workout outside.
Okay.
Because on his deep balls, he was hitting the roof of the bubble dome.
Well, that's not going to work inside a.
Do you want to know how far he threw the ball?
Like distance-wise or up?
How far these passes were that they had to move the workout outside because he was hitting the roof of their bubble dome.
70 yards.
70 yards.
I got it right.
70.
Yeah.
Now, I just want you to think of something. How far off the line of scrimmage do you think safeties are just like, well, they're not going to throw the ball at this guy? 50?